Awaken your spirit, chosen ones. Touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. The most ignored warning in history, and perhaps the deadliest mistake your enemies can make. Here's a fact. Studies have shown that chronic stress can weaken the immune system, but nothing weakens it faster than picking a fight with a chosen one. It's like going up against a tank with a slingshot. But here's the kicker. God doesn't just sit back when his chosen are under attack. Oh no. When your enemies keep poking the bear, they're not just triggering stress. They're inviting divine sickness upon themselves. Think of it as a cosmic cough that starts with a scratch in the throat and ends with a serious bout of spiritual regret. So, if they keep messing with you, well, let's just say their days of carefree health are numbered. Number 1, the tipping point of divine patience. There's a limit to everything, even to God's patience. People often think they can keep attacking, mocking, or undermining someone chosen by God without facing any real consequences. They mistake God's silence for indifference. But what they don't realize is that there's a threshold, a tipping point where mercy gives way to judgment. When that line is crossed, the consequences aren't just spiritual, they manifest in real, tangible ways. The sickness that overtakes your enemies isn't some random act of fate or bad luck. It's a direct response from the divine, a sign that the universe itself is pushing back against their wrongdoings. God, in his infinite wisdom, knows exactly when enough is enough, and when people reach that point, their bodies start to bear the weight of the harm they've tried to inflict on you. Sickness, in this sense, becomes a physical manifestation of divine frustration. Your enemies have poked at something sacred, something far beyond their understanding. And now the very balance of justice is being restored. It's as if their own actions have created a poison within them, slowly eating away at their health, peace, and well-being. This isn't just a warning, it's a message, loud and clear: stop or suffer the consequences. But here's the thing, it doesn't happen all at once. God, ever merciful, allows space for them to change course. However, if they continue to ignore the signs, their fate becomes sealed. The sickness that first starts as a whisper will soon scream through their lives, leaving them to wonder why everything is falling apart. By the time they realize it, they're already deep in a divine reckoning they can't escape. Number 2, spiritual immune system collapse. When your enemies keep coming after you, it's like they're messing with a spiritual immune system they don't even know exists. Just like how the human body fights off infections, the universe is designed to defend those who are under divine protection. But here's where it gets interesting. Each time they attack, they're not just chipping away at you, they're actually weakening their own spiritual defenses. It's like punching a brick wall, only to realize your knuckles are bleeding, not the wall. At first, they might not even notice it. Maybe they feel a bit off, a little more tired than usual. But over time, that wear and tear builds up, and before they know it, they've caught a sickness that no doctor can diagnose. What they don't realize is that they've been playing a dangerous game. Every lie, every act of jealousy, every attempt to bring you down is slowly poisoning them from the inside out. It's almost funny when you think about it. They're so focused on trying to hurt you, they don't realize they're digging their own grave. You'd almost feel sorry for them if it wasn't so well-deserved. God doesn't even have to step in with some dramatic intervention. Their own actions are doing the heavy lifting. They're their own worst enemy, setting off a chain reaction of negativity that comes back to bite them. By the time they figure out what's happening, they're already trapped in the consequences of their own toxic behavior. They've attacked someone with divine backing, and now they're left scratching their heads, wondering why they can't shake that nagging illness that just won't go away. Turns out you can't mess with the chosen without getting a little sick yourself. Number 3, cosmic repercussions. When your enemies come after you, they're not just starting a personal vendetta, they're throwing the whole spiritual universe out of balance. The universe operates on a delicate system of order and justice, and when someone tries to mess with a chosen one, they're essentially creating chaos. Every action they take against you reverberates through the spiritual realm, like dropping a rock into a still pond. The ripple effect starts small, but it grows bigger with each attempt to harm you. The sickness that follows isn't some random punishment. It's the universe responding to the disruption they've caused. It's like they've triggered a spiritual immune response, and sickness is part of that. Their bodies become the battleground for all the negativity they've unleashed. It starts creeping into their lives in ways they never expected. Sudden health issues, unexplained fatigue, mental fog. It's the cosmic way of saying, you've gone too far. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The sickness isn't just a slap on the wrist. It's a warning shot. The universe is giving them a chance to correct their actions, to pull back before things get worse. But most of the time, they're too wrapped up in their hatred and jealousy to notice. Instead of stopping, they double down, thinking they can beat the odds, not realizing that they're playing a game they can't win. By the time the full weight of the consequences hits them, it's often too late. The universe has already set the scales in motion and they've lost control. They started off thinking they could mess with you without any repercussions. But now they're facing the reality of what happens when you throw the divine order off balance. Number 4, God's retribution. Not always immediate, but inevitable. Your enemies often think they're untouchable because they haven't seen immediate consequences for coming after you. They mistake the delay in divine response as a free pass to continue their harmful behavior. What they don't realize is that God's retribution doesn't work on their timeline. It's not about instant karma. It's about precision, timing, and letting people dig their own graves while they're too busy thinking they're winning. God's judgment isn't always a lightning bolt from the sky. It's far more meticulous than that. The sickness that eventually comes isn't just a punishment. It's a carefully orchestrated response meant to give them every possible chance to stop before things get serious. Think of it like a warning system. God lets them wander into dangerous territory, giving them space to turn back. But when they keep crossing the line, the consequences become inevitable. It's almost like God is saying, I've been watching and you've been warned. But because nothing happens right away, they assume nothing will. So they keep pushing, thinking they're in control. All the while their fate is slowly being sealed. Sickness starts creeping in when they least expect it, and by the time they notice something's wrong, it's already too late. What makes it even more intriguing is how gradual the judgment often is. It doesn't come crashing down in one blow. Instead, it chips away at them little by little. Sleepless nights, unexplained anxiety, a sudden string of bad luck. They begin to unravel, and they can't quite figure out why. It's the slow, inevitable result of thinking they could toy with divine will and get away with it. The delay was never a sign of safety. It was God's way of giving them enough rope to hang themselves. Number 5, sickness as an echo of their own energy. The sickness your enemies experience isn't just some random occurrence. It's their own darkness coming back to haunt them. When they set their sights on trying to harm you, their energy becomes twisted and toxic. All that negativity, resentment, jealousy, hatred starts to build up inside them. They think they're attacking you, but really they're poisoning themselves. Their bodies become the vessel for the very darkness they're trying to direct at you. It's a strange kind of justice. Every harmful thought or action they send your way gets absorbed into their own lives, slowly manifesting as physical or mental sickness. It's like their own negativity is turning against them. What starts as a bad intention toward you turns into a creeping sickness that they can't shake. The more they focus on bringing you down, the more they're pulling themselves into a spiral of their own making. At first, they might not make the connection. They'll try to brush it off, blame stress, or tell themselves it's just life being unfair. But deep down, something in them starts to unravel. Their health deteriorates in ways that no doctor's visit can fully explain. It's not just a random string of bad luck. It's a direct result of the energy they've been putting out into the world. The irony is, while they're plotting your downfall, they're sealing their own fate. Their sickness is a reflection of the ugliness they've been harboring. The more they try to damage your life, the more they contaminate their own. It's as if the universe is making them live with the consequences of their own behavior, turning every bit of darkness they've sent out right back at them. Number 6, unseen courtroom. While your enemies are busy plotting and scheming against you in the physical world, there's a whole other courtroom they have no clue about. In the unseen spiritual realm, their actions are being watched, recorded, and judged by forces far beyond their comprehension. Every time they try to hurt you, it's like they're standing trial in a divine courtroom. Angels, spiritual entities, and even the universe itself bear witness to the injustice, and they're not silent spectators. They're recording every detail, every harmful intention, and every moment of cruelty. What your enemies don't realize is that this trial isn't a matter of if they'll be judged, but when. The evidence is piling up against them, and the more they continue their attacks, the more damning the case becomes. They think they're getting away with something, but they're building a spiritual rap sheet that will eventually catch up with them. Judgment isn't always swift, but it is certain. And when the verdict is finally delivered, sickness is often the first sign that the scales are tipping against them. Sickness, in this sense, becomes a kind of divine sentence, a warning that they've been found guilty in the higher realms. It starts small, like the universe whispering in their ear, but if they ignore it, the symptoms grow louder and more disruptive. Their bodies break down under the weight of their own wrongdoing, as the consequences of their actions manifest in real, physical ways. What makes it so fascinating is that, while they're focused on you, they're completely blind to what's happening in the spiritual realm. By the time they realize they're on trial, the judgment has already been passed. Their sickness is the universe's way of saying, your time is up. Number 7. Sickness as a messenger. Sickness, for many, is just seen as a physical ailment, a random stroke of bad luck, or something that can be cured with a prescription. But for those who are spiritually blind, sickness serves a deeper purpose. It becomes the body's way of communicating what the mind stubbornly refuses to accept. When your enemies continue their harmful behavior toward you, ignoring every other sign or warning, their bodies step in to send a message they can't ignore. At first, they'll brush it off as just another cold or a minor ache. But as the symptoms persist or worsen, it's a wake-up call that they're on the wrong path. The sickness is like an alarm system, one that goes off when they refuse to listen to the subtle nudges of their conscience or the signs from the universe. Their bodies begin to bear the weight of the spiritual damage they've caused, forcing them to confront the consequences of their actions. What's most intriguing is how the sickness unfolds. It won't necessarily knock them down all at once. It starts slow, creeping into their lives with a cough here, a headache there, or maybe chronic fatigue they can't shake off. It's as if the body is saying, pay attention, but they don't until it's too late. By the time they realize something is seriously wrong, the spiritual message has already sunk in deep. They may not understand the full scope of what's happening, but one thing becomes clear. They're suffering because they've been wrong. Their bodies, now riddled with illness, are screaming the truth that their minds refuse to hear. It's a final warning, a divine message that they must stop before things spiral even further out of control. Number 8. The boomerang effect. Attacking a chosen one is like throwing a boomerang into a hurricane. You think you're launching a good shot, but it's coming right back at you, with extra force and a vengeance. Your enemies think they're being clever, plotting and scheming behind the scenes. But what they don't realize is that the spiritual laws are already working against them. Whatever harm they try to throw your way comes flying back, only this time it's bigger, stronger, and way messier than they anticipated. Here's the funny part. They never see it coming. They'll be sitting there, smug, thinking they've got the upper hand, when all of a sudden, they're hit with a mysterious illness, a streak of bad luck, or just overwhelming mental exhaustion. It's like karma with a turbo engine. Their attempt to harm you has boomeranged back in the form of sleepless nights, stress they can't shake, or that cough that just won't go away. They probably thought they could bend or ignore divine order, but that's like trying to cheat gravity, just not possible. And the universe doesn't just settle the score, it does it with interest. Their attacks come back at them, compounded. What they meant for you multiplies, and now they're facing not just the consequences of their actions, but the extra force that comes with defying a spiritual law that's been around long before they were. It's almost poetic, if you think about it. They throw hate, and it comes back as headaches. They throw jealousy, and it comes back as chronic stress. At the end of the day, sickness isn't just a warning, it's the bill they have to pay for thinking they could mess with someone protected by divine order. And boy, is it one hefty bill. Number 9. No doctor can heal what God has decreed. Your enemies may think that a quick trip to the doctor will save them from the consequences of their actions. They'll load up on prescriptions, seek out specialists, and try every home remedy they can find on the internet, convinced that they can outsmart whatever affliction has come their way. But here's the hard truth. When God has decreed a sickness as a consequence for their wrongdoing, no amount of medicine or medical intervention can touch it. It's like trying to treat a broken bone with a Band-Aid. They might find temporary relief or a momentary distraction, but the underlying issue remains unaddressed. The symptoms may fade, but the spiritual message behind their sickness is still very much in play. They're experiencing the fallout of their own negative energy, and while they're busy taking pills, they're completely missing the point. Their body is telling them that they've messed up loud and clear, but they're too preoccupied with getting back to normal to really listen. This situation serves as a sobering reminder that some matters are far beyond human control. Divine laws operate on a level that doctors can't touch, and no prescription pad can rewrite what the universe has already set in motion. They may find themselves frustrated, moving from one doctor to the next, but the healing they seek can't come from a clinic. It has to come from acknowledging their wrongs and seeking forgiveness. And let's be honest, the irony is thick. They've spent so much energy trying to bring you down, only to find themselves in a world of trouble that they can't escape. They thought they could tamper with divine order, and now they're facing a stark reality. Some things are just meant to be learned the hard way. Their efforts to attack you have turned into their own personal health crisis, and all the doctors in the world won't be able to fix what's been broken by their own actions. Number 10. Chosen ones are barometers of spiritual alignment. As a chosen one, you serve as a spiritual barometer, measuring the alignment of energy around you. Your very presence reflects a balance that many might overlook. But when enemies choose to attack you, they're not just trying to hurt you, they're disrupting the natural order of things. It's like throwing a rock into a calm pond. Everything that was once serene becomes a chaotic mess. Their attempts to undermine you create ripples that go far beyond their understanding. When they launch their attacks, they throw themselves completely out of sync with divine energy. It's almost comical to watch them stumble blindly, thinking they're gaining the upper hand, while all they're really doing is throwing their own spiritual GPS off course. Their energies clash with yours, and the imbalance starts to manifest in ways they can't ignore. Sickness isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's their wake-up call, a loud and clear signal that they've stepped out of line with God's will. Imagine them going about their day, feeling good about their misguided mission, only to be hit with unexpected fatigue or a sudden illness that just won't quit. It's like their bodies are sending them a memo that reads, "Hey, you might want to reconsider your life choices." They may not understand why they feel this way, but deep down, it's because they're battling an energy that's simply not meant for them. Their sickness is the universe's way of nudging them back into alignment, a reminder that divine order is not something to be trifled with. The more they resist this lesson, the more their health deteriorates, and the harder it becomes for them to regain that balance. They're stuck in a cycle of chaos, desperately trying to wrestle control from the very forces that govern their lives. And while they're busy flailing about, the message is clear. Attacking a chosen one isn't just a personal affront. It's an invitation for divine imbalance to take hold. The universe has a way of reminding us that everything is interconnected, and when you disrupt the harmony, you're bound to face the consequences. Number 11. The divine autopsy. When sickness takes hold of your enemies, they may find themselves caught in a whirlwind of confusion and frustration, unaware that they are undergoing a spiritual autopsy. This isn't just a random affliction, it's God's way of peeling back the layers of their lives to reveal the rotten parts that have festered beneath the surface. Each symptom they experience is a slice through the fabric of their being, exposing the decay caused by their hatred, envy, and malice. Picture them struggling with their illness, perhaps blaming it on bad luck or a seasonal bug. all the while missing the larger narrative at play. God is dissecting their negative traits and shining a light on the very darkness they've tried to hide. Their suffering becomes a public display, a living testament to the consequences of defying divine protection. It's as if the universe has put them on a stage, where every cough, every fever, and every moment of anguish serves as a powerful illustration of what happens when one chooses to go against the sacred order. As they grapple with their ailments, they're also forced to confront the festering wounds in their own hearts. The jealousy that drove them to attack, the bitterness they harbored, these are the true sources of their sickness. God's autopsy reveals that their affliction isn't merely physical, it's deeply rooted in the spiritual malice they've perpetuated. Their lives become an open book for all to read, showing how toxic intentions can manifest in dire consequences. Friends and family may witness their downfall, and the whispers will circulate, "They had it coming." In this way, their suffering serves as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder to others of the dangers of living in opposition to divine will. Instead of finding sympathy, they become a cautionary figure, illustrating the price one pays for trying to undermine the chosen ones. The very act of attacking you has backfired spectacularly, revealing their true selves and leaving them to grapple with a reality they can't escape. In the end, their affliction is not just a personal tragedy, it's a divine lesson for all who witness it. Number 12. The slow rot of injustice. Sickness doesn't always come crashing in like a thunderstorm. Often it creeps in quietly, like a slow rot eating away at the edges of your enemies' lives. It starts subtly, with small signs they can easily ignore. Perhaps a constant feeling of fatigue, a nagging headache, or restless nights where peace seems impossible to find. Little by little, their vitality slips away, and they become less connected to the things that once brought them joy. The slow rot of injustice works in silence, like decay beneath the surface. Your enemies may not even notice at first, so preoccupied with their efforts to harm you. They're too caught up in their bitterness, their envy, their schemes. All the while, the sickness takes root deeper inside them, spreading quietly. It's not a dramatic punishment. It's more insidious than that. Their mental clarity fades, replaced by confusion and anxiety. What they once thought they had control over starts to slip through their fingers. By the time they realize something is wrong, it's often too late. The rot has spread too far, and they can't quite pinpoint where it all started. It's not just their physical health that's deteriorating, it's their peace of mind, their sense of stability. The irony is, they're being consumed by the very rot they tried to sow in your life. What they meant for harm has turned back on them, slowly, quietly, but with devastating effect. Sickness, in this form, is a reminder that injustice, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, has consequences. It doesn't always strike with a loud bang, but it erodes everything it touches, leaving your enemies lost in a slow, steady decline of their own making. In the grand tapestry of existence, the struggles faced by chosen ones serve as profound reminders of the intricate interplay between divine protection and human action. When enemies launch their attacks, they unwittingly set in motion a series of events that not only reveal their own flaws, but also expose the consequences of disregarding spiritual order. Each bout of sickness, mental anguish, or misfortune they endure becomes a stark warning, a lesson etched into their lives by the very forces they sought to challenge. Ultimately, the journey of a chosen one is not just about standing resilient against negativity, but also about embodying a higher truth that resonates in the hearts of those who witness the unfolding drama. Their struggles illuminate the path of spiritual alignment, demonstrating that while the world may be rife with challenges, there is an unwavering support system in the divine realm. As your enemies wrestle with their afflictions, they become living testaments to the idea that the universe has a way of restoring balance. Their experiences reveal that every action has consequences, and that attempting to undermine those aligned with divine purpose only leads to self-inflicted harm. In the end, the story of the chosen ones is one of hope and resilience, reminding us that while adversity may come in many forms, it also serves as an opportunity for growth, reflection, and ultimately transformation. Those who attack will find themselves confronted by the very truths they sought to deny, while the chosen ones continue to stand tall, guided by a light that not only protects them, but also illuminates the way for others. The divine order prevails, and in that victory, we find the assurance that love, truth, and justice will always triumph over darkness. If you found this discussion enlightening and want to explore more profound insights on spiritual alignment and personal growth, consider subscribing to our channel. By joining our community, you'll stay updated with fresh content that inspires and empowers. Don't miss out on the opportunity to deepen your understanding and continue this journey with us.